It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. We are back. It feels weird getting out of our routine a little bit. I felt like I was like, I don't know what it felt like. I was playing hooky from grade school or something. Like I think we needed a break, all of us, myself included, for my own sanity. We all needed a little break. And now we're back, and I want to know where you guys are at in Notre Dame land. I want to know where you're at in Notre Dame land. Tell me. We've had a little time off from the grind here. There's been some other football going on. Little bits of Notre Dame news with guys going pro or whatever. Like the Freeman stuff's still out there. The playoffs going on. Notre Dame USC, that issue. What you want to do in the portal. Did you enjoy the bowl games so far? These are the things I want to know from you guys. So I seriously hope everybody was able to relax a little bit. Get away from conundrum. I just feel weird, man. I just feel like if there's a day I can't go live on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, I feel like guilty about it. Like I'm doing something wrong. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm cheating the system or doing something wrong. I don't know. But I do think we all needed a little bit of space from this Notre Dame grind in our mind, in our hearts, online. And I want to know if you have clarity on anything. We've been away from a little bit, like the intensity of the day-to-day stuff. We're a little bit removed. And I'm interested to know where you're at with things. Has your emotions calmed down from the playoff thing and you're like moving on? Are you waiting for more information first? Do you need like some big proclamation extension, Freeman's back, before you can move on? Are you waiting for that? Is that weighing on you? Do you have any stress about some of the talent Notre Dame's losing that's going to the league or whatever? Like, is that in your mind? I would just love to know where you guys are at with all of this after a handful of days off of this show. Scribology says, angry is where I'm at. I feel ripped off. Bitterness. I feel bitter. Like I'm agitated. It's an undercurrent of bitterness that I feel. And I don't know how to put this. Seeing college football on the TV, other games, other bowl games, the studio shows at halftime, we're talking about these bowl games, whatever. Bitter. That's how I feel, man. I do not. This bowl season, this little run, I have not felt like, ooh, goody, college football is on. Let me watch this. And it's like my comfort blanket because it's college football and that's my thing. That's not how I feel. I feel mad when I see college football on the TV. I feel bitter when I see other teams out there playing. Whenever there's even a commercial for the playoffs, I'm mad. There's no easy answer to this. There's no easy answer to this. Because you can't. The only way you're going to move on or whatever, it can't happen until the first game next year. Like, that's been in my mind. Like, you really are, Notre Dame people are not going to be able to get over any of this or whatever till you have a clean slate next year and you could go win that game and take all of your frustrations out on another team. I don't see any other way through this that's going to feel satisfying till you get to the other side. And the other side is a fresh slate. College football is over this year. You can move on, and then you go win week 1. Like so. I'm sure when the season ends, and there's no more playoff games, and it all ends, I'm sure it'll move along, and it won't be as intense. But if you're a Notre Dame fan, frustrated with everything, some of you are saying you haven't watched the playoff games. It's just going to be a rough road. I don't see any other way out of it. It's a rough road. And I want to know, I really do want to know this Freeman thing. I don't know what the answer is. I do not know what the answer is. I have some people telling me this guy is under contract at Notre Dame. They don't have to tell you nothing. And all these clickbait articles and everything else are what they are. They don't have to tell you nothing. He could talk to whoever he wants. And as long as he doesn't take one of those jobs, they don't really have to say anything to you. And then I got other people who are saying he's waiting this thing out. He's waiting this thing out until all those NFL coaches get fired the day after the last game of the season and they fire 10 guys or whatever, waiting for that. Like, I do not know that answer. I don't know that answer. But I got people on all sides of this thing telling me he's under contract. What are you waiting for a statement for? Whatever. Everything's fine. We keep it moving. I'm not in the mindset to believe that, as bad as things have gone for Notre Dame lately, for me to just be like, this Freeman thing, no big deal. I want reaffirmation. I want reaffirmation of what the deal is. Contracts don't matter. Tex ND, you're right. But if you got some proclamation, Freeman's back on an extension, it's a 1-year deal. We all need to understand that. You are in 1-year windows with Freeman from now on. Unless he says otherwise, if he comes back and they have some extension or whatever, you are on 1-year deals with your head coach from now on out, and that makes it title or bust for Notre Dame from here on out. That's how I see this, because you're absolutely right. Anybody could buy out you could have an extension or whatever. Anybody could buy that out if they want the guy enough, or he wants to get out of the college game enough, right? But what I'm saying is, the way I view this, you are in 1-year windows with Freeman, title or bust. Because I don't know how long this is going to go or when his heart's going to change. I want to do a different challenge. I don't know. The other thing I'm just going to throw out here is, if you are Pete Bavacqua, the time to figure out what you need to do if Freeman decides to do something else isn't right when Freeman decides to do something else. You got to already have a plan of what you're going to do and try and get it done. Like, you need, an AD always has to have that list. If something happens to my head coach tomorrow, here's what I'm doing. Plan 1, 2, 3, whatever. This is an uncomfortable place to live. It's an uncomfortable place to exist. and people are ready to move forward, and you can't really move forward till you get all this. You just can't. So I don't know, you guys. It's Tex ND says we're also in 1 year windows as team due to NIL and the portal. There's a lot of truth to that too. Sorry, John, Kyle Whittingham isn't available. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's that one is he's older. I think he's like the third oldest coach. But what Michigan needs right now is an adult in the room with the maturity to literally just stabilize things and not have another horrible scandal. Like, that's the mission at Michigan right now. Get a responsible adult in the room who knows how to act and control the situation. Kyle Whittingham's perfect at that. He is the pillar of stability. 21 years at Utah. Like, so you could have gone younger and riskier with whatever. But, like, for what they need right now, that's what they need. A stabilizing, mature guy that you could trust to not have them in another scandal in a year. That's what they need. And that's exactly what Whittingham is. And Michigan has good infrastructure. They have money. They're a Jordan brand. They have NIL donors. They have a huge network. So is this an electric hire that like shocks the system? No. I don't think it has to be to wade Michigan into whatever comes next. Right? And they gave him a 5-year deal. He'll be in his early 70s by then, and you see where you're at. But the one thing I'm sure of is the guy knows how to coach college football, and he's not going to embarrass them and get them in any more trouble. Okay? So I believe that's a really stabilizing hire for Michigan. The interesting thing is, good morning, Ryan. If you want to join, feel free. Talk about the portal, Notre Dame's O-line coming up, whatever you want to talk about. Welcome. We got a few of you guys on hold. We'll get right to you. The Canes man says, Freeman, leaving y'all or what? Nobody knows. Merry Christmas. So I don't know. The media don't lie. You of all people. Marcus inked a 4-year deal with the highest paid coaches in the USA. Okay. Did I miss that press release? Am I dreaming? Did something just come out? Did I miss that press release? Ryan, me too. I'm dealing with that too. You want to get back on your regular schedule, and then you remember the kids are off school. It's been a problem for me too. I get it. Jay Card, the Bears 49ers game was awesome last night. Yeah, it was weird. I read this morning. I think the Bears are the first team ever to lose scoring as many points as they did with no turnovers and no sacks. First team ever to lose under those conditions. It's wild. So I don't know. Bears aren't going to get that bye, but they should have home games in the playoff here. It'll be interesting. I can watch a little NFL now. It doesn't sting me as much as watching our stuff does. So today, I just want to catch up with you guys. Later, Rudy. Thanks for being here. Always good to have a Rudiger. I'm open to shooting wherever you guys want to go. We could have a quick little show today. I know everybody's on their holiday schedules. Wherever you guys want to go today, I'm happy to meet you there. Wherever that is. If it's Freeman stuff, if it's how you're feeling overall, if it's Notre Dame's roster, wherever you want to go, I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. So thanks for being here. Hit subscribe. Go to the Patreon. Tim eyed this morning. I was like 48 minutes of what Notre Dame's going to do at O-line this year. Boom. I love it. Even in the off season, man. Even in the off season, we go strong over there. So let's do a couple of these chats. And we'll get into your calls, and we'll go on from there. Nikki Dean. Johnny, I got a theory why ND skipped the bowl game. The first step in embracing the yo roll. I did the Patreon episode yesterday after seeing the Pop-Tarts Bowl. BYU really looked engaged. Good for them. They look like they wanted to be there. I wonder if Notre Dame had a little more time and didn't have to make that decision in the heat of the moment a few hours after realizing you were left out. I wonder if some time people would have cooled off and they would have been more open to it. But if you were going to have as many players sitting out or not playing, I don't know how that changes it. As many players as were rumored to opt out of that game if we wanted to play it, I don't know if another day and a half to cool off before you make that decision or a full 24 hours changes it, if that's the dynamic you were in. If you didn't feel like you could field the competitive team you wanted to field, does that change it? I don't know. It's just, this is all just tough. Mikey, another factor in favor of not playing a meaningless bowl game is injuries to returning players. It's a late point of the year where a significant injury goes into next year. You have that side of it, then you have this side of it. Do you think they could bite us in the butt regarding development? I don't know. There's a part of me that wonders if a clean slate in this unique situation is best. And I don't know the answer to that. But I'm wondering if all of this, the negativity and the drama and the shock of not making that tournament, I'm wondering if it's just better off if we just ride it out and then you have a clean slate into next year and we go. I don't know. Sly. On the bright side, only 250 days till Wisconsin. It's going to be a long, tough offseason. It just is. It's going to be a long, tough offseason. And you need to understand we're in for a long haul. Because the only way any of us is going to start feeling better is when you start playing your first game. There's nothing else you could do. Nothing else. Nikki Dean, did you watch Pop-Tarts Bowl? BYU was dialed in and we would have been down like 20 players. I think we may have gotten beat and it would have thrown that gas on the fire of like, see, Notre Dame's not a playoff team. Their third string lost to BYU's first string. I know that would be the narrative. It's a lose. It's just a lose-lose. The whole thing Notre Dame's in right now is a lose-lose-lose situation. Is anybody confirmed Jags is wrapped in bubble wrap? Yeah, you got O-line. You got to figure that out. I actually credit this. Hope everybody had a good holiday with friends and family. I haven't watched CFP and don't plan on it. I'm impressed. I watch it and I'm just bitter. So I've been watching, even though I know it's not good for me, it's going to upset me. I've been watching it. It's the ultimate thing, man. You know something's going to make you mad and you do it anyways. It's a disease. I know watching the playoffs going to make me mad and not happy. I'm going to do it anyways. Anybody here planning on going to Lambeau? Dr. John's going to Lambeau. I was going to go to Lambeau the first time, but then I think that's when everybody got sick and we didn't do it. Ryan Roll. I didn't get the pony I asked for. I'm telling you what, man. You come to the tailgates with that wagon full of beer. You come in there riding a miniature horse. You're going to own the tailgate, baby. That fits you, Ryan, by the way. Notre Dame would have smoked BYU. Stop. Would Notre Dame have wanted to be there? How many of your best players wouldn't play? I don't know. I'm just asking the questions. John, I watched you a million times over the last several days for you to do an emergency podcast. Yeah, Ryan, I really want you to roll up with the donkey or something at the tailgate. Tie it onto the bumper of the car, drink some beer, ride that thing home. Crying Belly, $10 hour. this sitting out of the bowl game stunt seemed entitled and could mean for the next few seasons are disastrous. Look at Florida State after crying all off season. I would like to think Notre Dame's in a very different spot as far as the roster and like the whole operation. That was unique in a weird way, how that all caved. I just think Notre Dame's infrastructure is vastly different and in a better spot than theirs was when that happened. The way they fell apart. Also crying. The beginning part of Notre Dame's schedule next year, if you don't win all those games, something's gone real wrong. FSU is totally different situation. I mean, the not getting left out of the playoff, the infrastructure of where the program was at overall. I'd like to think Notre Dame's has a lot more high-level stability than Florida State had at that time. What was he doing? Half the team was from the portal each year to come in. Notre Dame's in a much more stable spot. They're in a more stable spot. That's what I'm saying. I got to decide which games I'm going to tailgate this year. Probably going to be 2. I think we're going to do 2. So we're going to maybe wrap this thing up from 1 to 2 games, give people double the options to be able to get to a tailgate game. All right, let's get to some of your thoughts, and we'll give it to you guys. I'm happy to go wherever you want to go. We've been off for almost a week, so let's see where you guys are at. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. Liam, what's up, buddy?
John, are you familiar with Always Irish withdrawal syndrome?
I'm telling you, man. I feel weird not doing shows, Liam. I feel like I'm skipping school. There's this weird feeling, but I thought we all needed it, man. Be with your family and friends, sleep in a little bit. Like, I thought it'd be good for all of us. Maybe cleanse our minds a little bit.
Well, without the show, Renee and I had to call each other every 6 hours just to curse at the wind.
I'm glad we're making these connections, my friend. I'm glad. Liam, I do not have some of the clarity I was hoping to find on the other end of the break. I was genuinely hoping maybe being away from a while and not having to like manufacture angles to talk about every day on these shows. I was hoping some clarity would find me on a lot of these issues, but I still feel a lot of the emptiness we went into this break with. I would love to know where you're at, what you were thinking about over this break, and what comes next.
I think that when you're a fan of a sports team, or when you've played on a sports team and you're left with a disappointing feeling in your stomach at the end of a season, the only thing that you can do that's responsible is to work harder. And I feel like Notre Dame is in line and has the coaches. We should demand more from them now. I want us to find a number 1 wide receiver, coach him up, work harder. I want to find more than just one edge rusher, work harder. And I feel like the clarity that I gained was that everyone in the sports world who is affiliated with the conference hates us and will snub us any chance they get. So I think that we should be thankful for that, because now we know the goal next season. And the goal next season is we're out for blood.
Yeah, you need to, that's a big lesson learned. You need to win enough that no committee or anything could do anything to you. And I think we always kind of felt that. This is the proof of that. You better go 11-1 or better, or expect the worst. I think we've all learned that tough lesson.
Yeah, I think that I sensed a little bit of frustration in your voice regarding Marcus Freeman's ambiguity about next year. But I feel the same way you do, but not towards maybe Marcus Freeman, but more towards the AD, particularly because of he had like the big boy words the day and the day after that we were snubbed. Then we had an emergency press conference, and now you're not sure what's going behind the scenes. Is he, is he walking back his statement, or is he an evil genius who's hard at work getting what we need?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Notre Dame went hard publicly in the backlash to the immediate playoff snub, went really hard. And then they kind of started backing off, and you have not heard a word since that Tuesday Pipa Bakwa presser. And it makes you wonder, did they see some of the reaction to that and realize they weren't winning anybody over that already wasn't in their camp, and we need to just go silent and get to work, or what? But I think it leaves you wanting a little information about Freeman, about the future, like whatever.
Yeah, I think there's been some type of disconnect between Notre Dame's press release, the media department, and its fans. I think that we want more, they've given us less, and the debate is, what is their obligation to us besides putting out fancy posters before games? Are we privy to the information that an insider should have? Probably not. But do we want that information? Of course we do, because we want to be hopeful for next season. And the problem is that we're kind of left in the dark with that regard.
Yeah. It's like, and I don't know what the answer is with Freeman, but the longer that things go, you just feel like this uncertainty, and you want to bag it all up and get ready for next year. But that's the key piece of it. And you're just kind of waiting. I just think Notre Dame fans aren't in the mood to have instability of that level still as a cloud hanging over all this. You're just not in that place, because you already enough bad stuff has happened. You're like, dude, is there one more that's the final blow? Like you're just waiting to be able to move on. And Liam, some people are telling me, don't worry about it all. He's going to be back. It's no big deal. And other people are saying every day this goes, I think he's leaving. So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, but John, check this out. Okay, worst case scenario, Marcus Freeman leaves. Let's say he takes all the coaches with him, right? Am I going to throw my hat out? Are we going to stop being Notre Dame fans? Are we going to stop going to games? I mean, we went and watched Charlie Weiss. We went and watched Brian Kelly lose to directional Florida teams. Like, whoever's the next guy, if there is the next guy, inevitably, right? Like, I don't think Marcus Freeman's going to be here forever until you and I are dead. So we're still going to be Notre Dame fans. And unfortunately, the only outlook that we have is we need our team to work harder. We need our coaches to coach up some of the homegrown talent. And I think that I'm a little bit torn about, should we go out and just try and pluck people from the transfer portal every time that we have a need, or should we give some of the guys that we have a chance? Should we coach them up and make these coaches earn their raises?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, man, I get it. It's such a unique time in Notre Dame land. The combination of everything. And I just am at the point where I want a clean slate, and let's load up and go to next year and make that the focus. Hammer the portal, hammer the recruiting, know who you got back, start looking to that. Like, I am ready for the college football year to be over. I'm ready for these playoffs to end so that there's no more college football and it can all just be about next year. That's what I'm ready for. But you got to have resolution on some of these issues.
Donnie, though, I think that some perspective is look at the other teams coming into the year and how their seasons went. LSU, Penn State, Ole Miss with their best season ever, losing their coach. That ain't going to happen again. Florida State, they're in the dumpster. USC, they had high hopes. They ain't any good, right? And I think when you compare what we're dealing with compared to the other fan bases, I think we're doing all right. And I think we're going to be all right. And just because Marcus Freeman isn't having the press releases or the press conferences that I want him to have every other day doesn't mean that anything's happening. I live in New York. I don't think coming to New York with 6 kids, 4 of them being elementary school age, is a desirable place. We've been firing coaches every 3 years.
Yep. I get it, man. I am just, I'm ready to move it all forward. It's just, any thoughts about the playoff games? Like, you're going to get better matchups this week. Obviously there are going to be some good games. I think Ole Miss Georgia interests me the least, just because it's a SEC rematch. All the other games have a lot of intrigue, though, and a lot of interest, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Oh, John, I think you're talking to the wrong guy. I have not watched any of the college football playoff games since our snub, but the only game I watched was
Good for you.
That's because I support America and support our troops. But besides that, I could give a lick about the rest of these games. I'm really sorry to say that.
Good for you, man. I wish I had that in me. I wish I had that in me, but I'm going to be watching them and be mad about it. It's just what I'm going to do. Liam, anything else on your list or on your mind, man? It's good to get back in the saddle here. We got a good crew, 244 live viewers. We're back at it, and people are ready to talk Notre Dame and whatever else is going on, man.
2026 Notre Dame revenge tour. Here we go, baby.
Ooh, I like that. Liam, God bless you, man. Have a good new year. I'll be back on Wednesday, though. We'll see you guys. I'll be back at it. Couple super chats, then we'll go right back to you guys. Bruce, where'd you go? I saw you and you disappeared, buddy. Yeah, you want to talk about an all-time decision. Richard, John, who do you root for in the quarterfinals? Ohio State or Miami? I think Ohio State. Like, it isn't the Ohio State people just won a championship. They're in a good mood. If they keep winning and go on, what else? They're just going to get happier. I don't want Miami people to have this modern joy. I'm bitter like that. I don't want Miami people to have this modern joy of winning. I think I'll actually pull for Ohio State, take them down. Not going to lie. What did you have for Christmas dinner, John? What did we have? Some Portillo's, Italian beefs? Just some good old-fashioned Italian beef, man. You can't beat that. Nice warm meal with some potatoes and stuff. Yeah, how about that? $10 holler. Ed, John, I've been trying to catch you. I'm devastated. Dad, 79. Might be the last time we had a chance to see a national championship together. I don't know if I'll recover. I don't know if you're half kidding or not. Tell Daddy better keep on living, buddy. Better keep on living. Adam, I do not do the soggy beef. I get in there. You got the juice or whatever, the odd Jew, whatever they call it. Man, I get them tongs. I shake that thing, baby. I'm up there shaking it, letting that liquid go back in so it doesn't soggy up my buns. Nobody likes the soggy buns. $5, so to speak. $5 holler for the Jonesy. Johnny, do you think what has transpired against ND, which feels like a conspiracy, will hurt us in getting recruits and future coaches? I've thought of this. You already got to be a certain type of kid from a certain type of family and a certain mentality to be open to the Notre Dame life. I think this kind of thing lines up with that. Guys that want to be different, all these conference schools and whatever, and you already got to have something in your mind to want to be open to the Notre Dame experience because it's so different and all that. So a part of me thinks this villain turn and all this lines up with the mentality of wanting to be different. Everybody else is going right and you're going left. So a part of me feels like this lines up with the mentality of some of these recruits. However, it's fair to wonder if anybody's like, man, I want to go somewhere where I feel like I have a chance to be in the playoff and play for this every year. Look at what happened to Notre Dame. I don't know, man. What's their deal? I could see that. But I just think a lot of these guys have a different mentality as it is. I really do. All right, we're going to keep it moving. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. Let's get Luis in here. He's at work. Back to work. No vacation for him, and then we'll keep it moving. What's up, brother? You're back at work, baby.
What's up, my boy? Yeah, hell yeah, John. You know me. We do 6 days, 7 days straight, no days off. Only 1 day every other week. Other than that, we're talking about Notre Dame football today, guys. This is some bunch of BS that's going on. And you know what? I'm glad what Notre Dame did. I'm glad that we stand on business. I'm glad that we show them that we're going to show them what you're going to do to us, we're going to do to you. We're showing the SEC and we're showing everybody in the goddamn conference how you put ESPN out of business, all right? That's what we're doing, all right? We're playing like a champion each and every day without your mumbo-jumbo crap that you try to pull on us. We don't need you. You need us. Don't forget about that, all right? And all this dumb stuff that's going on, I'm watching my mouth. All this dumb stuff that you guys are saying about Marcus Freeman, shut up. He don't need an explanation. We got Marcus Freeman, and don't worry about that. And if you love him, stand next to him. And if he does leave, you got to understand he's not going to stay forever. Until then, onward to Notre Dame, stand on business, show what we're about. And all you that talking all this is, I had to watch one football game after what they did to us. Because you know what? I am not going to give a one rating of myself on the stupid shenanigans that they try to pull on us. And then you want us to watch football? That ain't going to happen at all. My mama, that ain't gonna happen on my watch. So we stand on business. And here, check this out, John. Check this out. Every day, this is my little reaction to all this shenanigans, all this. All right. I play like a champion every day, and I wear this. So that's exactly what our football team is doing. They have that in their mind. They have that in their heart. They have that pain, and they're fueling up right now. They're getting fueled up for next season, and we are getting mentally, physically, and emotionally strong because we're going to be on a revenge tour, and we're going to take no prisoners next year. Stand on business, Notre Dame. How about them Irish?
Luis, I love you, buddy. I love you, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you, buddy. Anything else, or did you get it out?
Man, I still got so much more, John, but I'm at work. I'm with my team and everything like that, you know. But hey, to all of you, my apologies, guys. Hey, belated Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Love each other, respect each other, and enjoy the moments that you have with your loved ones, guys. You don't know when it's going to be over, man. That's all I got to say. And the way we love our family, I carry my passion and my love on my sleeve, and I stand on Notre Dame. And I love Marcus Freeman. I love Notre Dame, and I like what People Walker said. I'm glad that he went out there and let you know he don't need to be explaining all this other stuff to some of us that want exclusive access and all this. I'm glad what he did. The moment that USC bailed out, we had a contract lined up with BYU, and guess what, ESPN? You ain't getting none of this cheese anymore, my boy, because we're showing you how we can cut you out. And that's how exactly we need to be out there and standing on Notre Dame on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all the Notre Dame podcasts, letting everybody know that People Walker has a plan, and we got to stand next to our athletic director and show the rest of the conferences that we don't need you. You need us. Don't forget about that, my boy. Don't forget that we stand on business. On my mama, we stand on business all day, every day, any place, anytime, anywhere. And USC, you guys punked out. You guys showed us that you guys a bunch of punk asses because you punked out on a contract that you don't even respect. And what you need to do is find Trojan people that do Trojan things like Keyshawn Johnson said. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We got Notre Dame people. We got alumni that know Notre Dame. And we have a coach that knows what Notre Dame stands on. All right, John, I got to get back to work.
Get back to work. I always wonder what his coworkers think. You're over there doing electrical work and he just starts yelling and they're just like, there he goes again, Luis. He's just doing his thing. There he goes again. He's yelling. He's like, hey, anybody, anywhere, anytime, we want to play you, except for BYU and that Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's different. But other than that, anytime, any place, anywhere, we want a piece. Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Adam, I see you coming up. Renee, Brendan, Bob, Irish Cole, welcome. What's up, buddy?
What up?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Okay.
Oh, I'm on now. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. I thought you would just give me what's going on, my man. Hold on one second here. Let me move to my. What's up, man? Hold on one second. Let me move to my little spot. Hold on. Long time no talk to, man. It's kind of weird being a fan right now in terms of like having that lull and them not playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels very awkward. It just feels like you're kind of hanging out in no man's land. It's very uncomfortable. I don't know what to think and feel. I feel like we're like not hiding, but hanging in no man's land. It's very weird.
It's very weird, and all the hate that we're getting, and we're not in the playoffs, but the fact that we live rent-free in so many people's minds, and that the Miami Hurricanes in the midst of a playoff run, which is going to end on Wednesday. It's going to end on Wednesday. But with that being said, the fact that they came off that game was brutal to watch. Let's be real, that A&M game. But that looked like that was awful. But the fact that they were
I can't get you, Irish Cole. You got to come into a better service, man. You're cutting out. Your face is pixelated. I can't hear you. You want to re-rack and try again. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to cut you off. I just can't do it if I can't hear you. Try again. Adam, good morning.
Good morning, John. How are we, buddy?
I don't know, Adam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we're kind of floating around here. Like I am not exactly sure where it all stands, to be honest.
Yeah. It's, I'm just in that same state. I can't get out of it. And I think I need to wait until the playoffs are done. I think this whole thing comes down to literally just getting to January 23rd, 24, literally let's just have this thing end. Whoever's going to win it. As long as it's not Miami. If it's Kirby again, whatever. If it's Ohio State again, whatever. If Oregon gets their first one, great.
How about this? Not Miami and not Indiana. That's what's
exactly.
On my mind. That is what, for very specific and different reasons. Not Miami and not them and Indiana is on my list.
I totally agree, because if Cignetti comes in like 2 or 3 years and is able to do it, it's just that makes it even more bitter. If Kirby gets another one, whatever, congratulations. If Ohio State, exactly, they'll just be smiling more. Yep. Oregon, I'd feel like, okay, whatever. I don't have that much, whatever. But as far as like Indiana and especially Miami, please no. Please no. So that's where I'm at with that. And then, the big thing for me also is going to be coming up as what the playoff committee is going to be doing in this new format building that they've now pushed out again. It was in December, then it was January 8th, now it's January 23rd. And it's basically, they are trying to come up with the new format for the future years. And whether they're going to be expanding from the 12 to 14 to 16. There were rumors that it might even be going up to 24, depending on how they try to kind of make it so that everybody feels involved, because obviously the group of 5 is going to be, their athletic directors are not going to be wanting to sign off on that, saying, oh, totally, we need to be in the top 16, when that's going to be very hard for like a North Texas or whoever it is to do so. So what is that new format? And that will give me a lot more, I think, relaxation as far as where we're going in the future for Notre Dame, because they're not going to keep it at 12. This is too much of a juggernaut of a money building and generating business. So they're going to expand it. And if and when they do, then that means that it's just that much more easier for Notre Dame to then do what? Get into the playoffs year in and year out. Because again, if it was at 16, we're in. If it was at 14, we're in. Like it would not have been an issue this year. This is the one year where not being in a conference and all those different things, and that's why everybody's yelling at us about it, came to bite us in the ass.
Yeah, it did. And it is going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to change that playoff in 1 year to expand to 16 or whatever, or I don't know what the plan's going to be. But it would be good to know kind of the score moving forward of what the new dynamic's going to be. I don't know. I just have a lot of unanswered questions about all of this, about Freeman and about just the team. You've lost a lot of guys on this team. Couple O linemen, your wide receiver, the tight end. There's just a lot moving around. I don't have closure on.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, us as just human beings dealing with this, is like when you don't have answers and you're walking around with so many different questions. I mean, it's almost like you're waiting for like the doctors to come back and like talk to you about like the test results, and you're like sitting there like, come on, man, like where are the answers? Well, we're still working on it. Well, that's not good. That gives me a little bit more apprehension. It's like and anxiety and everything else. So we want answers because we need them in order to move forward. And I feel like within time, obviously we're going to get it, and I'll tell you, it really struck a chord that a video that you posted of the gentleman down in LA who works for Universal and the tie-ins, how everything's connected to one another. You know, like Universal Studios, ESPN, like all these different things. Why everybody is sitting there trying to grasp at these massive contracts that are out there, or these opportunities, especially for college football, because they're not going to be generating the movies and these other things that are happening. So where else can revenue come from?
Yeah,
Well,
and you know, and Adam, that's what makes you think having a former TV executive as your AD should help, because he, better than anyone else, should understand the inner workings and the politicking that goes on with all of that leveraging and the money and the rights and where it's headed. You would like to think that's one of the advantages of having an AD who comes from that world.
Yeah, exactly, because he understands the language and he's lived it. You know, it's not and it's no, you know, it's nothing against football people, but it's not somebody who's just lived their whole life in football and then is like kind of governing a football team and looking at recruiting and play, you know, players and schemes and schematics and all that different stuff. This is somebody who's lived the business side within like a general manager world and a managing world for a massive multi-billion-dollar company. And so when you look at that kind of juxtaposition and how that plays into college football nowadays, well, they're starting to blend. It used to be very much separated, and now because of NIL, because of, you know, the settlement between the NCAA and past players and all the different things that have been going on, and it's such money generated, and it has become such a business to where now we're hiring general managers within college football. I mean, it's incredible to see the blend. I'm not the greatest fan of it, just because of the fact that I love the just, hey, get out there, play, you know, recruit, coach them up, get on the field, play, whoever's the best wins. But this is the name of the game in 2025 going into 2026 and beyond, is that it is way more, business oriented. And so we have to kind of get used to that.
Yeah. And Adam, I'm just going to ask, like, on a personal level, have you watched the bowl games? Are you watching the playoff games? Do you watch them with bitterness inside like I do? Are you avoiding them? Like, what has your dynamic been like? It's been a challenge.
It is an extreme challenge because I love college football and I can't watch it.
Yep.
I don't know what to say, Johnny. I literally sit there and I caught the end of the Texas A&M and Miami game because I was like, are they seriously going to lose to Miami? I was shocked, and then, but other than that, I'm like, oh, wow, Tulane lost by, 40, cool, or whatever it was. I mean, it's like, yes, like, of course these things are going to happen. James Madison, whatever. It's like, no, you couldn't have told me that they were going to come and try to pull off some miracle. This isn't Boise State, Oklahoma back in the day. These teams are extremely outmatched. The size difference is just, it's so different. The speed, the level of ferocity, the size of these guys, it's just different. And so the whole first round, I was like, this is just garbage. And everybody else agrees, man. That's the other thing that sucks about it. It's like, you have Nick Saban, you have all these other people out there, all the ESPNers, and they're all like, yeah, this isn't really that great to, and it's just, they're trying to sell it, but they know in their heart of hearts. And if you watch like Herb Street and Galloway yip yapping on their podcast or whatever, they're saying the same thing. They're like, this is not what anybody wants, because what would have Texas or Vanderbilt or Notre Dame done? And
you doubled it. That's the other problem. It wasn't just one seed. They ended up getting two of those teams in. And what it made was, all year, the buildup is the playoff, the playoff, the playoff. You finally get to it after this grind of a regular season everyone fought through. And the final two games on the first playoff Saturday are non-competitive, and everybody knew it from the beginning. You can't tell me that's what everybody envisioned for this.
No, and it's not. And you know what? It's the same thing. Like, remember at the beginning of the season, we were talking about, okay, you're going to get into Miami. We're going to find out, what our personnel is like. Who's doing what? How's our defense? Yeah, how's our defensive coordinator going to play out? How's this? How's that? We had no clue. It's the same thing with the committee. They were like, well, yeah, we'll just sign. I mean, of course, the ACC, Miami, or somebody, Florida State's going to do something and they'll win their conference, and then this will be easy. And they never saw this coming. And so it's not like they set it up this way. They set up the format this way, but they never saw it like where they were thinking Tulane and James Madison were going to get in. There's not a chance because honestly, in their heart of hearts, they didn't want that. They didn't want that, but they had to adhere to the agreements that they have with the business, people that they're in cahoots with. And guess what? ESPN half owns the ACC. And they own the SEC. So of course they're going to be rooting for their teams to get in. And if the ACC completely blunders the way it did and has a tie-breaking thing that makes no sense in their formatting, and then you have a 7-5 Duke win it,
Adam, what I've been thinking about is the combination of the 20 different things, starting with Notre Dame going 0-2 and everything else happened to keep them out of the playoff, man. Like you needed one different game result anywhere in from like the mid-October on to put Notre Dame in. Like the perfect storm that ended up 20 different dynamics that all lined up that had Notre Dame, the first one on the outside. It could only happen to Notre Dame to be the first team out in all this drama. It's so on brand that it makes whatever hair I have fall out. Adam, anything else, man? We'll be back Wednesday. You could join again. Anything else after the little break we had?
Yeah, just so Notre Dame, right? I mean, of course, you needed Alabama to win at home against Oklahoma in the regular season, and this isn't even an issue.
They have like 5 turnovers. They had 4 or 5 turnovers.
Pick 6 here, pick 6 there.
You didn't get any of those November upsets. Teams run out of gas. The injuries catch up with them. You didn't have any of the typical November chaos from rivalry week. You just didn't have any of it, and it all lines up with Notre Dame on the first out. Yeah. So it's going to be a long off season, but it
will be. But hey, Johnny boy, we're going to be here together, and we'll make it happen. I'm at work until Wednesday morning, but I'm going to catch you Wednesday morning when I get off, and then we'll chat then.
Adam, stay safe, brother, and happy New Year to you and the family, and stay safe out there. Taking care of the city. Have a good one, buddy.
Take care, Johnny boy.
Look how Tron is living for the city. Oh, man. Bruce, you're coming up next. Let me get a couple of these chats. I got Renee. I got Bob. I got Brendan. Oh, man. This is, all right, here's something I have to vehemently disagree with here. Since ND is out, you got to root for Indiana, man. I literally look at it 100% the opposite way. I don't know if this is a troll or joking or not. Notre Dame, our entire existence the last 30 years has been getting back top, winning Heismans and winning championships. Indiana just decided to start thinking and caring about football 2 years ago. And you want me to be okay with them maybe winning a Heisman and a championship? What an insult to Notre Dame. It's the biggest thing we all focus about for 30-some years. Indiana just started scared 2 years ago. They could clean sweep it. I'm going to be bald the next day if that happens. I hope you're kidding. I need anything but that to happen, and Miami. Bruce, what's up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
First off, happy holidays to you and your wonderful family, by the way. I hope you guys were able to relax a little bit.
A little bit. Thanks, John. Same to you, man. All right, I got some thoughts. Wait, first thing was actually more of a question. There was a guy on earlier who said that he's not watching the college football playoff because he supports America and supports the troops. What does that mean?
No,
I was curious to know what that meant.
He cut out, and I think he said he only watched the Army game or whatever some bowl he cut out, but he was saying the only one he did watch, I think, was Army Navy, something like that the only one he watched had a military tie.
Bowl, the Army Yukon game. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Army had a running back in that game that went 12 carries for $171. That was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to figure that out. I was like, what's he talking about?
Yeah, he cut out. The only game he watched was military involved, was his point.
Got you.
Bruce, I just feel a little directionless right now. I feel like I'm floating around here looking for like the direction, the way out. And the Freeman stuff is just agitating me, and I don't know what to expect or hope there. Watching the playoffs putting me in a bad mood. You opted out of the bowl game. Looking at those Pop-Tarts jumping around bothered me. Where do you start, Bruce? Where do you start, man? Like, where's your mind at with all this?
All right, John. So obviously I'd rather see the Irish there, but we cover this stuff. So I'm watching the college football playoff, and I still love college football, so I'm going to watch it. I think there's going to be some great games the rest of the way. But where I start is this, John. Stop beefing about the group of 5 teams, please. The real issue is Bama. That's the real issue. The SEC and their underhanded dealings, and Alabama getting in when they shouldn't have, because had they not, we don't have this problem. We're not worried about the group of 5. That said, the group of 5 teams that made it in, they made it in based on the current configuration of the 12-team playoff. We can't be mad at them. They did all they could do during their regular season, and we also got to stop this nonsense of assuming that a group of 5 team is never going to be able to compete, because I guarantee you, if we had this system a few years ago, 2017 UCF, they would have made a run in that playoff. I guarantee it. That was a really, really good group of 5 team. I covered that team. They were really good. Not that team, the one the following year. But the point is, that was an outstanding team.
You know what, Bruce? Yeah. That's a pretty mature point. That you're mad at 2 different things there. You could be frustrated with this system that was structured to allow those 2 teams in, while acknowledging that everybody's hands were tied, because that's kind of the deal that was the structure. Correct. The Alabama one's different. That's different. And I know you're a Notre Dame guy stuck in SEC territory in Florida, so you've always been against the SEC. Were you shocked, Bruce, when they did the ranking and Alabama didn't move at all? Not only stay in the bracket, but move down with the loss. They didn't move at all. BYU, you lost. You got to drop. But Alabama, you can stay right there.
So I wasn't shocked that they didn't get knocked out. I was shocked that, like, when it all came together, all the different aspects, a 3-loss team still being in. We've never seen that before. Yeah. The fact that they're the only team that's lost a conference championship game and not moved at all. That's the one that got me, because with them not moving, obviously it didn't help us, and it ended up screwing us. So now when people want to push the false narrative, because they love doing that about Notre Dame, they want to push the false narrative that we're whining about Miami. I keep finding myself having to tell people it has nothing to do with Miami. We, of all people, understand we should have gotten the job done against either Miami or A&M, one of those games or both of those games. So it's not about that. It's about Alabama. But they never want to hear that, because, that's too logical, makes too much sense. So that's my bigger issue. But real quick, before I move on with the group of 5 thing, now going forward, we can push back when they say it's not about the resume, it's about the 12 best teams. No. You showed us that it's not about the 12 best teams. You don't care about that. So let's not do that, right? That's why, in all seriousness, we got to get rid of this stupid committee thing. Or if there's a committee, you have to make it like 40% committee, 60% computers. You have to have some type of standardization and some type of entity that cannot be that's not going to have bias, right, or manipulate, right? Because obviously with the committee you have different ADs and stuff, and everyone's looking out for their own best interest. And again, no standardization on what gets somebody in and what doesn't. So that's the problem. So yeah, that's my thought with that. Next, John, I sent you the thing, I think last night, about the new Netflix documentary featuring Notre Dame. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it should be pretty cool. But for the first time when I saw that, it kind of made it somewhat understandable to me why some people hate Notre Dame so much, right? Because I have a lot of people in my circle that hate Notre Dame, and I kind of continually ask the question, because they always push the Notre Dame is irrelevant narrative. And I'm like, well, that's just factually untrue. No matter how you feel, there's no rational defense for the statement of Notre Dame is irrelevant. But we all know that's, not the case. But I kind of see, to an extent, why people get irritated, because one of their biggest arguments is Notre Dame gets all this attention. Notre Dame gets all this shine. They haven't won anything in 36 years. And I'm like, well, if people are giving them this attention and this shine, should they turn it away? Notre Dame, you can't be mad at them for building upon their exclusion from what was the college football world. You know, we all know the story. They got, you know, disrespected by the Western Conference, blah, 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 on numerous occasions. So they said, fine. They took it on the chin, pause, and they decided to go ahead and build. They built this thing that they have over the course of a century.
Yep.
By being basically, you know, the quote unquote redheaded stepchildren. You can't be mad that they maximize their opportunity that you created for them.
Yep.
But
I've always said that. I've always said that. Like, people are mad. It's like, well, you all made us go do all this. And then like I always hear about like they could be independent and then they got their own TV deal and then they got that deal with the playoff where they get to keep the money or whatever. It's like your team would do that too if it was offered to them.
Yes.
Like, don't be mad at me for offering things that we put together and like like any of those benefits Notre Dame has. They weren't handed to them. It took over 100 years for them to earn all of those opportunities.
I don't know why people can't, but you know, the hatred is real. And I don't know why they can't rationally understand this and why nobody on mainstream sports commentary will actually, you know, address all of this. That's why they can't have guys like you and me on mainstream sports TV because we're going to destroy all the narratives and they don't want that. But yeah. So, and real quick with that, you know, the whole push is Notre Dame hasn't won anything since '88. Got it. Nobody's more aware of that than we are as a Notre Dame community. However, Penn State is a blue blood. They haven't won in 39 years, going on 40 as the year changes later this week. Why does no one get on them the same way? Nebraska's a blue blood. They haven't won in 28 years. Why does no one get on them the same way? USC's a blue blood right there with us. They haven't won in 21 years? No one says anything. So you have all these other blue bloods who are, you know, on the same level or you know, a step above or a step below us. They haven't won in a long time either. No one says anything. Before Georgia started winning again, they hadn't won in 42 years. No one said anything.
Okay, so then do you just say, but when you're the different kid in school, that's how you get picked on, right? Like those, what you're saying is true, but they were all in line with the conference narrative and all that stuff. I just think when you're the outlier and you do things differently, people are there's a certain percentage of people that are always going to not like you for that, whether it's justified or not. And you are right. You said earlier, the being independent thing hurt Notre Dame this time. There are times in life where it's helped Notre Dame, and there are times where it's hurt Notre Dame. And the way this all turned out this year, it hurt Notre Dame to be independent. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. When you want to be different, you sign up for that.
Yeah, no doubt. Finally, is it finally? No, two more things real quick. So I'm hearing people saying here that they're rooting for Indiana as Notre Dame is not there. I understand you can't do it.
Can't do it.
How can any self-respecting Notre Dame fan root for an SEC team? How can you do it? Like, I don't care if it's Indiana. I don't care if it's Oregon. I don't care if it's Michigan. I don't care if it's Ohio State. If you're above the Mason-Dixon, you root for them. You don't root for the SEC. We've got to destroy this narrative. We've got to break it down because the college football powers that be are all in bed with the SEC, and those are all the same ones that are not only pushing the narrative, but doing the nonsense like Bama that we just saw that kept us out of the freaking playoff. We cannot ever, as college football fans, root for the SEC. We can't do it. Now we're finally seeing all the lies being exposed about how it only matters. It matters more down here, and down here is all where all the great college football is played. No, now we see that you're not the only ones who can pay, and you're not the only ones that can hoard up all the talent. We got NIL and transfer portal now. The talent is spread out. All of a sudden, now it looks a whole lot different. Why would any of you root for the SEC? Can't do it. Don't do it.
Okay.
You're rooting for the same people that screwed you with Alabama.
Yeah, I get that. I think it depends where you want to point your displeasure. And to me, it's like, well, if Georgia wins a title, like they've had a couple, whatever, the same people are happy again. That's different than like in Indiana doing it, where it's like, that's what we wanted to do and they did it. And then like that would hurt in a very unique way. The Indiana thing would sting a lot, Bruce. If Alabama or Georgia win or whatever, I'll be like, whatever, another SEC, whatever. It bothers me. The idea that Indiana could do in 2 years, basically, what we've been trying to do for 30, I won't be able to sleep at night.
I get that, John, and I hadn't thought about it until you presented that argument, but I'd rather not be able to sleep because of that than being out here having to deal with the SEC. It just means more. Told you, boy, you Notre Damers, you you think you're something special. That's only fair. We play ball down here. No, I can't take it, John. I hate it. Yeah, no, we cannot root for the same people that continually screw us and feed the machine that continually screws us. No. Yeah,
hey, that's a fair position to have. And then you and I, let's address this briefly. You and I are going to do a separate show. I need to hop on your channel, and we're going to dig into Notre Dame USC at a deeper level. So let's not dig into all that now. Let me hop over to your show, and we'll do something specifically about that and where Notre Dame goes and who's right or wrong or whatever.
No
anything
doubt.
else on your mind, man? Are you? This just hurts, man. You worried about Freeman leaving or no?
I would not be happy to see it, but he's a young man. And I've always said one thing is, if you have real money, there's very few places on this earth that's better to live than New York City. If you have the opportunity to coach an NFL franchise in New York City and you're built for it, like I think he is, like, obviously being the coach of Notre Dame is one of the most scrutinized positions in sports. So I think that he is built for the bright lights of New York City. So if he gives into the allure of that, I can't be mad, won't be happy, can't be mad. So I'm not worried about him leaving. I do, though, wish that they would hurry up and get this extension done. So, but I'm not worried about it per se.
Yeah, it's man, it's just one more thing that Notre Dame fans have on their minds that they're worried about, like added to the list. Anything else you want to go over, Bruce? Thanks for
very
joining.
last thing, and I'm not going to get into it, is I love that USC got exposed for being liars and cowards. I love it. I freaking love it. Oh man, warms my heart.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. Bruce, let everybody know where they can find you. Glennie here's find you. Bruce has a great pod, The Format. Let everybody know where they can find you. And then look for me. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to join Bruce. We'll dig into USC more specifically on his channel.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's called The Format Podcast. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram at The Format Podcast. And Twitter, I don't tweet that much anymore, but it's at Bruce F. A. Hope. At Bruce F. A. Hope. But yeah, the easiest way to get me is the Format Podcast on YouTube. Thanks.
Awesome. Bruce, hey, have a good one. Send my regards to the family. Hope you have a relaxing New Year, my friend. And then we'll get together on a schedule for me to pop over.
No doubt, man. Thank you.
Have a good one. I'm going to say it every time, and I'm going to say it again. I've never met a more respectful child than Bruce's son he brought to Notre Dame, and I met him. The most respectful young kid I've ever met. Like, Mr. Kennedy, it's a joy to meet you. Like, the kid was so respectful, and it's just the ultimate credit to Bruce and the way he has instilled those values in his kid. I was blown away by how respectful that young man was. It was very impressive. Look at this. I didn't expect this. LSU guy here. We don't get a lot of those anymore. I don't ever hear the ND hate you guys claim. Bro, open up my Twitter feed. Every single comment that is cultured by the algorithm is another person that's ripping on Notre Dame. Literally, every time I log into Twitter, every single tweet on the thread is somebody going against Notre Dame. Maybe you're in an LSU thread, but everything that algorithm feeds me, literally every tweet is against Notre Dame. I think it's more about how ND claims how great they are, but it's been so long since the last natty, it rubs people the wrong way. I think at least last year, Notre Dame got some credibility on a higher level for making that run all the way to the title, beating the SEC champion like Penn State. I feel like Notre Dame gained a little credibility on that front, more than they had before that when we hadn't won a major bowl game in 35 years. So I get what you're saying, but I also think Notre Dame should have gained a little credibility for last year's run. First major bowl game they won in 30-something years, man. 30 years. So I don't know. Let's keep it going. Renee, good morning, buddy. Renee.
John, there we go.
What's
Sorry,
up?
can you hear me now?
What up?
Not much, man. I wasn't going to call in because, man, that BYU Georgia Tech game opened up a wound that I thought probably was patched up and on move forward, man. But it really did, man.
In what way, Renee? Did watching it make you wish Notre Dame was in it because it was an intriguing game, or like what part of it?
The competitor in me did, John. Like I said, Kalani's a friend of mine. Some of the guys on the coaching staff and administrations are really good friends of mine. I live here in Utah. I was talking to a friend. He was like, "Oh man, how do you feel about the owner of the gym? That's really cool to me. Lets my little baby niece Layla go in there and train for speed and skills. He's a big BYU guy. He goes, hey man, how do you feel about them up to now? I did it as a competitor. I didn't like it, but I understand why they did it. And he goes, yeah, I do too. He goes, man, I really wanted to watch that game. And I said, right? They other than the one in 2004 or 5, I think, that game was lopsided where we won 49-26. And as a competitor, I'm just like, man, that would have been such an amazing game to watch because even the commentator said this is not the same Georgia Tech team we've seen all season because a lot of them opted out. And then it made me think, well, that's right, man. Like opt out or not. And then I talked to Liam, and Liam's been keeping me kind of calm because, you know what I'm saying, we plugged in through your show.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's right. Marcus got his first 10-win season in the Sun Bowl against a depleted Oregon State team that didn't have no coach. They played.
Yeah.
Renee,
what it makes me think about, Renee, is how good would it be for me to go out to Utah when we play BYU? Me and you hit the town and record some content, baby.
Brother, I think that would be awesome, man. We'd be like kids on Christmas, man. We'll go hit the town and really create that content. But and then I think even Tom was like, hey, road trip to Provo. And as soon as they announced that, man, I was like, Coach Vera and I, like I said, live in the same town as a friend of mine, man. Love that dude. He said it best, the one good thing about BYU, he proved the national narrative right or wrong. Yeah, and teams don't want to play us. They're trying to schedule us out. BYU was quick to pick up that slot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the competitor in me watching that Georgia Tech game, not to only mention like, gee, how ironic that Georgia Tech has the same colors as Notre Dame does. You know what I mean? Did anybody pick that up?
Yeah, it is. I felt very weird watching it. The Pop-Tarts running around bothered me. It just something about those Pop-Tart mascots and the thought that Notre Dame would go from the third best odds to win the title to a Pop-Tart bowl where a toaster is the trophy. It just hurt, man.
And I understand that, man. But I mean, for me as a competitor, I'm just like, it doesn't take away about how great how amazing the game was, man. And a friend of mine, I got my friends that I went to BYU Notre Dame game here in Vegas at the Shamrock season 22. One of them goes to because the other one that they're big BYU fans, but the only other one that's not says, "Hey Renee, thank God for that Catholic quarterback to bring him back."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Bear Brockmeyer, and it was a good time, man. But John, the only thing I want to say is that because Liam said, well, Renee, we could afford getting CJ Carr hurt and everything. Well, what makes any of that different from KVA getting hurt against Stanford in a game that really didn't matter, I guess, other than to get the solidified 10 wins? You know what I mean? And then what's to say Charles Jagasaw going and being a kid, a 20-year-old kid, having a barbecue on Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend and hitting himself off. I mean, we could play all these scenarios. We can't risk this. We can't. Well, that's how you play football. You line up 11-11 and go to town, man. I guess for me, I thought it was over. I'm not going to talk about the bracket because we control our own destiny, John. You said it, John. You said it best all season. If we don't get in, it's our own fault. So I mean, I'm not going to touch on that. The group of five, agree with it or not, they did what they needed to get in. They did. We should know that after last year, they didn't want us in. They didn't expect us to go 11-1 and run the tables. What they do, John, you said it best. Look, and if you can say last year, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't always tell us last year, and we can't say it to you. Because here's the thing: they put you up against Indiana. Indiana will handle them because they play in the Big Ten. Let's not send an SEC team to cold ass South Bend in late December in the holidays. Okay, that backfired on them. Oh, wait a minute. So let's send them to Georgia in Georgia's own backyard because we know how they fare. They've always fared up against the SEC or whatever in the big bowl games. Oh wait, they didn't just beat Georgia; they beat the shit out of Georgia.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen again to the naysayers, and that's true, John. So you can't complain about the group of five. You can't. It is what it is. But the one thing that I'm saying that I totally am going forward, as far as Freeman, and Andrew Gilmore probably agree with me with this. And at this point, I love Freeman, bro. I love him. I do, man. Luis, he's my boy. He knows him. We've all met outside of your chat. And this is all I'm going to leave it with. I do, bro. And you know that I've defended Freeman since the day they hired him. But at this point, you're a half a decade into your contract. You're 5 years. That's a half a decade. Hey, if you ascend and they tell you 60 months, that's 5 years. You're going into your fifth year. No slow starts, man. No, sorry, dude. At this point, it's taken you 2 years for you to get the alumni or the powers that be with money to be like, hey, I need this, I need that, I need this. You're going into your fifth year. This is going to be half a decade into your coaching tenure at the greatest program in all the land. You have to show up. You have to. You have no slow starts. And granted, we got a weak schedule, but John, that's the one thing I was telling him. At this point, you're in half a decade. You know what I mean? Starting contracts. You're right, John. Contracts are contracts, but every year they can be renewed and bought out and all that stuff out, man. But John, I really hope you come out next year to Pro Bowl. That'd be amazing.
Dude,
you know what
that
I
would
mean?
be amazing. You got to show me around. We'll create some content while we're out there. We'll go to the game. That would be gold YouTube content.
No, John, and let me know. I can get a spot for us to do a Friday Night Lights show. I could set it up for us and have all that, man. So let me know. But hey, I'm gonna take care of listening, man. Love you guys. Just said that BYU game. I know, granted, what bowl it is, but the series has always been close, and it would have been a great game to watch. Hey, John, just all I like to say is onward Notre Dame, man. It's done, and room for Oregon because, like I said, I had some players to go there, man. So I love you guys. Onward Notre Dame.
Have a good one, buddy. We'll talk to you in a couple days. God, I love that, man. Philly says these wins are insane today. I was surprised, man. Listen to the weather here. I got Bob, I got Brendan, I got Rodney. You're all coming up. Listen to the weather switch I've had in about 12 hours, really. Last night, storms come through. Tornado siren goes out. I'm in northern Illinois. All right? I'm in Illinois. It was 60-something degrees and a bunch of storm fronts. So you had a tornado warning just south of me. A tornado hit. People have damage. So we had that. So we literally had the tornado. The sirens are going off, whatever. Then you go to bed and you wake up and there's snow blowing everywhere and it's literally like 10 degrees. Welcome to Illinois weather, you guys. Welcome to Illinois weather. By the way, that BYU trip is calling my name. I just think it would be really, really, it would be pretty fun. Pretty fun. Sly says, unfortunately, next year's O-line will take time to gel. I'm assuming he's going after me for saying I'm sick of hearing you need time to gel. You need to win while you're gelling. You don't need to be. That's always my line. I understand O-lines take time to gel, but you need to be good enough to win while you are gelling. I don't expect you to be a finished product, but you need to be good enough to win. Didn't do that week one this year. But here's my thought. At least you have an easy start to the schedule next year. That's the difference. You have these moving pieces you're going to have to gel, and you're not playing 2 top 10 quality teams right away where your margins are so small. You should have leeway to not be close to perfect and be 5-0, 6-0, whatever to start the year. That's a big difference. Big difference. Big Bob, what's going on?
Well, John, I'm not as close to the ledge as what I once was, but other than that, not too bad. Merry Christmas to you, although a little bit late.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought it would do everybody good to take a couple shows off, kind of like recalibrate where we're at here in this fandom. What's on your mind, my friend? Is it playoff stuff? Notre Dame, USC? Is it Freeman and the NFL rumors? I'm just taking the temperature here where we're all at. What's on your mind?
Well, first I would like to say I 100 if I could I could be more than 100% agreeing with Bruce. It is. I hope the SEC loses as quick as possible and does not make the final game for 3 years straight.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Like, I don't know, man. Notre Dame people are playing any game you can in your mind to just kind of get by. That's what I'm doing, man. Grabbing on whatever I can to get through because I've been struggling. I'm not going to lie. This has not been an enjoyable few weeks.
And as far as, the group of 5 and the 5 top conference champion winners, that's on freaking Captain Jack. He was the one that devised that.
Jack and Sankey were the architects behind this format. And that is true. That's a fact. Jack and Sankey were heavy behind this move. You're right.
So, so people talking that. I'm hoping, John, you can, this phone call to you basically put some healing to my heart and my soul over this season, not necessarily the season, but how it ended. As I've watched a little bit of NFL, but I can't even freaking watch. I tried watching a little bit of the Alabama Oklahoma game, and I just had to turn it off. I'm thinking neither one of those teams. I think, in my opinion, Oklahoma should not have been in. I get it that they beat Alabama, but if you look at the stats of that game, it was only because of turnovers. Yep. I think Notre Dame and Miami should have been over both of them, but I'm not the committee. But anyway, I wanted to look back a little bit at the season to hopefully get a good vibe. And a couple things I wanted to mention was coming out of the blue gold game, other than the quarterback situation. We all know how that played out. The big name was Carson Hobbs. Yeah. Everybody was fired up about Carson Hobbs. We get to the week before the Miami game, and Devontae Smith, it might have been that Wednesday even, turns an ankle.
Yep.
Now, as much as Goolsby keeps saying Devontae Smith didn't start, Devontae Smith started the Miami game. And I know he played the first series because I've watched the game a couple times. He goes down, then you put Carson Hobbs in, then Christian Gray gets hurt. You put in the kid from Indianapolis, Zachary. They tell, and this has been reported, they tell Talich, you need to shade over to Mark Zachary's side. Then they run that crosser, and Hobbs gets burnt for the touchdown.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to do is just kind of put all that into perspective. Is as much as it sucked, and it did suck, I think that, and this is me personally, and I felt this after the game, Miami beat us. That game was not a 3-point game. It wasn't that close. I mean, if you really look at it.
I have a much bigger problem with the A&M game than I do the Miami game. Like Miami was a more put together, prepared team for that moment in that first game than we were, and they earned that win. In a way that I don't feel totally the same way about A&M at home and all the points we gave up and the bad defensive lapses and everything else. I have a harder time accepting the A&M result at home, giving up 9,000 yards and points at home. I'm still not over it.
Well, I will say the A&M, everybody's talking about Marcel Reed was this and that. The dude, he completed less than 50% of his passes. Yep. We should have gotten ran out of the ball game, to be quite frank, in that game. I mean, they should have scored, what they score, 42? They should have scored 50-something. He missed all kinds of passes. And having said that, you end up with another situation where Devontae Smith
Bob, we missed a lot of his passes, too, that were thrown to us that we couldn't
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you end up with the same situation. Devontae Smith's warming up, turns his ankle, and that's how come Carson Hobbs got the start.
Yeah. And then wrapped into that, you also have the fact that it's a brand new DC trying to work with the moving parts he has in the beginning part of the season against two tough opponents. So you already had the new DC trying to figure things out. And then you also had a new starting quarterback that you had to kind of be careful what you do with too. It was all a combination of a bunch of dangerous factors that Notre Dame couldn't overcome. They let all those things gang up to an 0-2 start.
And you also had Christian Gray try to headbutt the guy at the 50 and didn't even try to wrap around, and the guy goes for a touchdown.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it was pitiful. I mean, it really was. But then after that, I get it. You know, Purdue, what we want, and my math's not great, but I'm just going to run through this real quick. We won by 26, Arkansas 43, Boise State 21, North Carolina State, what was it, 29. And then the USC game, and now that's got to be the highlight of the season. I mean, that was, other than Carr's pick, I mean, that was the game, the atmosphere. You could almost feel the vibes coming through the TV in that game for me. Then we have the bye week. Then we have Boston College 25. We win by 15, which we all know that was a clunker. Then we have Navy 49-10. So we won by 39. My question is it time to really consider getting rid of Navy? If we're prepping, if we have to take time out of our schedule in fall break, and then again during our bye week to prepare for a team that's not even a Power 4 team, that now takes 2 weeks of preparation from our kids that I think, and I agree with Goolsby on this, took a lot of the luster off the Boston College game. So is that a game? I mean, I get all the history. I get all that. But can we not say, hey, look, we love you. Can we do it every other year?
I totally understand it. I have said before, I respect all of the aspects of the history of that game, but I really don't like the way it's played and the way you got to prepare for it. Those are two different things. I truly respect the history and the Naval Academy and their history with Notre Dame. But I also don't like the way the game's played. But here's the question. In a world now where a lot of teams and conferences don't like Notre Dame and they're saying don't schedule Notre Dame, make their life hard, you want to give up one of your opponents, you know you could pencil in that schedule. How serious are these conferences and teams about saying we want to lock Notre Dame out, don't schedule them? I don't know. Do you got to think about that?
Well, I think you got to think about it, but I also think it's overhyped, particularly on social media.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it, Notre Dame puts butts in seats, TV revenue, and everything else. And if you put a deal in front of them, they'll want that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with when Bavacqua said we got enough people lining up. But I do also think that, you know, when you get into the SEC and the Big Ten and some of those conferences, they don't want to play people during their conference season. And that's where, do I like being in the ACC? No, but I mean, let's be real. Whenever we got into that, FSU was decent. Miami sucked, but FSU was good. Clemson was good. I can't remember. I don't know if anybody else was real good at that point, but you know, I mean, it does give us some stability with schedule. But anyway, so then we got Pitt, then we got Syracuse, and now we're in the playoffs. Everybody's thinking, yeah, we're in the playoffs. Then we play Stanford at night. The game gets over at what, 2:30 Eastern time. It might be 1:30, late. And then you see the Alabama game beforehand. You're thinking, these guys freaking suck, you know? And then the whole crescendo happens. Now, I get the opting out of the bowl game, but I want to ask people, and I was pissed that we didn't play in the bowl game too. Okay. And I get that you're going to have a lot of the stars opt out, the Price, the Love, Raritan and some of these. But something that has not been brought up that I've thought of is, what about all the people that may have been considering off-season surgery, like a Christian Gray or a Leonard Moore because of his ankle, or a Tay Johnson because of his hand. Now, if you had a Mark Zachary in there for one of them, and then someone else, Ethan Long. Well, no, he's a safety, but anyway, Ethan Long for Tay Johnson, and then someone else for Leonard Moore, and then Rubio's not going to play. If you got, I mean, do you really want to go into a game like that against, BYU, and then now you have second, probably even third stringers playing that hadn't played all season, and you, heaven forbid, get beat, even though I don't think we would, even playing our third stringers. But then you're dealing with that freaking all off season. I get all that.
Yeah.
As much as I hated it, because golly, I want to see him play. I mean, that's my whole thing. I even watched him, I even watched the Miami game. When was it? In, 1986, when we got beat 56-17 or something like that, against whenever Jerry Faust was still here. And people look back, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but if people look back and they think that the Weiss years were bad, and they think that the Willingham years were bad, go back to Jerry Faust. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
You think things were bad then? My gosh. Jerry
I'm
Faust.
glad we're in a modern era now. And I want to move this all forward, but I'm waiting for some things. I'm waiting for Freeman news. I'm waiting for this portal and see some action. I'm waiting to I need some impetus to get to the other side of 26, and I'm waiting for that, but I need certain things to happen, man. I want to see this portal get popping. I want to see a Freeman announcement, and then we can all move on.
Well, that's one advantage, I think. Had we played in that bowl, Freeman would have had press conferences, and people would have had availability to ask him some of these questions.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Now, having said that, with Freeman, if you're Al Washington and you turn the DC position down at Boston College, are you thinking Freeman's leaving?
It's a very, very good point. There have been multiple assistants on this staff that have been offered other jobs, some of them even upgrades in pay and position, who have stayed. That is a pretty good sign of Freeman's intentions. And a couple of the recruits and guys, there's things there that make you think that, but I want confirmation, because I'm not in the mood right now to have another big, huge negative thing drop on Notre Dame's head.
Well, even Gerard, who's reclassifying. Do you think he's reclassifying if he thinks Freeman might be leaving?
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Those are really, really good points. I just think the mood the Notre Dame fan base is in, you want complete closure so you can move on to whatever comes next.
I would agree with that. However, he still has a 5-year deal right now.
It's true. It's true.
So, what is working behind the scenes? I don't know. Is it they're wanting to get him tied into, if by chance he leaves, we get a bigger payout? I mean, obviously it's not going to stop him from leaving, but it sure would help the bottom line.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
And I think
you're right.
I think a lot of that's coming out on social is from his agent, which that's what an agent's supposed to do. You know what I mean? And who's to say, I saw an interview with Freeman, and this was either at the beginning of the year or during the middle of the year. And they talked about, him being happy there and what else he might need. And he said the only thing that he would really like would be more money for NIL. But now you got this, this Go thing that's, I guess, reviewed by either Price Waterhouse or one of these big accounting firms on this NIL stuff. And to me, now we're getting back to where we were before pay for play, because Notre Dame is going to get all that shit approved. I'm sorry, John, to where a lot of schools are going to say, screw it, let's just pay the dude. So now we're back to this uneven playing field again.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got the revenue share, but the NIL, I mean, you look at the kids going into the portal, and now granted, nothing's really stung going into the portal.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Notre Dame, but these are, from my understanding and what I've read, these are guys that were getting huge to me, maybe not huge, $300,000, $100,000, and they're getting their deals cut by almost 90%.
Yeah.
Because We are playing by the, I shouldn't say playing by the rules, because nobody has defined to me that if I break that NIL and I don't go to the whatever place to get it certified or whatever, what's to happen to someone?
Yeah,
Well, what's the penalty?
there are teams that are doing that already. They just avoid the clearinghouse altogether, give the guy the money, and then figure if they want to go search for it and figure it out, we'll apologize later. That's already happening.
Right.
The
Right.
whole dude, it's such a lame thing when people are like, we need guardrails on NIL so everybody's on equal footing. Then it will just be the old days where there's a bag of money under Granny's porch. You're never going to get away from this. Whatever cap you want to make legally, you give the bag under the porch the old school way. It's never going to equal out.
100%. 100. I mean, you know, so I don't like that situation in that sense, because I think now Notre Dame's going to put themselves at a disadvantage when they finally kind of crawled back out of, I shouldn't say crawled, that's not the proper word to use, finally gotten to where they have a roster that is competitive and comparable to anybody in the country.
Yeah,
And
true.
that's one reason why this is I mean, I don't know if you remember back in the spring during, not spring, summer during camp, the interview with Ian Book, and Ian Book talking to some of these pro guys that were actually able to see fall camp while he was there, and talked about how Notre Dame's roster was better than any other roster in the country at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I stepped back one from the ledge, but it's not to say that I can't step forward.
Yeah. It's good to be flexible there. Yeah, it's good to have flexibility. So we'll see what happens. I think the portal window is going to be exciting. And hopefully you get closure on Freeman or whatever people are looking for there. Hopefully you get that. We can move this all forward. It's just, this has been an interesting, frustrating dynamic and window of time for Notre Dame people in a lot of ways, on the field and off of it. Bob, anything else to wrap up? Thanks for joining today.
John, I appreciate you taking the call, buddy. As always. Hey, have a great New Year if I don't talk to you as well.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Join again. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. Sharky, we're going to go Brendan and Rodney. Why would it take 2 weeks to prepare for Navy? Ask anyone who preps for Navy. It's so unique the way they play offense. You need time to prepare for that, especially if you have moving roster pieces. You have newer defensive guys, maybe younger. It might be their first time defending Navy. The way they play offense requires extra time to figure out responsibilities or whatever, or you get shredded. But it's not a Notre Dame specific team thing. Everybody that plays Navy that isn't used to it, there's an extra run up there. It's just so weird the way they play, and they can shred you if you're not ready for it. Tom, here's the deal. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes for a reason. Well, I know that, but I want to know. Like, I get it. ND is a private institution. They are not obligated to release info to the public regarding Freeman. That is absolutely correct. I'm not saying they have to. I'm just saying I'd feel a lot better if they did. Right? Like, you're obviously correct. I'll just feel a lot better if I know that that's all situated. Brendan, what's up?
Good evening, sir. Hey, belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Thank
and the
you.
best
You too,
for your
man.
family. Yep.
You too. Thanks a lot.
I do think it's important, taking a little bit of a break and pausing, right? The guys did have, on one hand, an objectively failure of a season, right? If the measure is making the playoffs and really winning one of the first two games. So we shouldn't shy away from that. But, so the previous caller was talking about Foss. I mean, there have been previous eras of Notre Dame where it was much, much, much worse. And so not it's like an excuse that, hey, it's all good and we should be satisfied with not making the playoffs, but it's more like we do kind of need to put things in perspective, which kind of leads to my second point. I have done this. I essentially, it was absurd. The response to the whole playoffs selection stuff from almost all of the national media. And I am done. And I would just strongly encourage, there was never, ever, ever, ever going to be a scenario where you're like, our strong feelings for Notre Dame and what we stand for and a success on the football field, it will never be validated by these people on ESPN or on, freaking RJ Young lectures in the chat. It is never going to happen. It's like a girlfriend or something that you want this relationship to work, and you like, let's just talk about football and let's just like, oh man, let's respect Notre Dame for who they are. It 100% is absolutely never going to happen ever. And so seeking validation or being upset because people think we're scared about the USC nonsense, which is a lie, or that we're scared to join a conference, which is a lie. Like, don't just ignore that crap. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, maybe after we win like a three-peat or something, then you can resubscribe to everybody and maybe they'll say something nice about Notre Dame, but it's absolutely never going to happen ever. So just like, don't even seek it. And my mental health has gone up significantly by not caring what freaking Joel Klatt or RJ Young or Josh Pate or any of these other knuckleheads say, because it's not going to be fair.
Dude, it's just amazing the status that some of those guys get, where I'll get a million texts like, oh my gosh, did you see what Joel Klatt said today? And I'm like, no, because who cares? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird how some of those guys, it's like whatever word they say, whatever Feinbaum says, I'm supposed to care about. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what any of those guys say. And they all move with the breeze. You get what I'm saying? Wherever the breeze is going is their next opinion. I don't care about any of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, you also kind of think about what did this look like 20 years ago? You got your blue and gold magazine in the mail once a month or something, or you would read the South Bend Tribune or the Chicago newspaper. And that would be like your little hit of Notre Dameness. And then you would talk with your buddies about it or whatever, but it wasn't like the constant. I mean, I definitely got into it. You sit there and you scroll X over and over again to see what people are saying during the game. So, I mean, there's goodness and badness in the social media realm. I would just say, kind of taking into perspective, hey, it's a new year, new goals. How do we as individual fans set ourselves up for next season? So like you, John, I don't know, you back in the gym yet? Are you getting your body right after losing all your weight or whatever? And, are you going to get back on kind of non-Notre Dame specific stuff that give you something to look forward rather than, oh my God, are the freaking Giants going to sign Marcus Freeman or not? I mean, we can't control that. So I don't know. What can we do? I think our bandwidth would be better spent focused on what we can focus on.
Yep.
Hey, the other thing,
you're totally right. You're right about that. And I think it was maybe Liam, the very first caller, said you could worry about all this stuff outside of our control or what's already happened, us not taking care of business to begin this year. Or you could get to what we can do. Keep hammering the recruiting, nail that portal, lock Freeman back in, like build this thing up, get an early start to the offseason for 26. Like, that's where this all has to go. And it's been rough getting there.
Yes, no, I agree. So on the whole, again, stepping back, I truly think the fundamental flaw with the whole setup right now is that conference expansion the combination of conference expansion, the elimination of divisions, and the siloing of conference schedules makes it literally impossible to have any sort of reasonable measure of who's good relative to anybody else.
That is that is truer than ever with the big expansion, mainly of the SEC and the Big Ten. And then look at the ACC too. It's so distilled, even within a conference, it's hard to tell who's good against who.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, it's a fundamental flaw because like you win the SEC. So how like I get the Alabama thing, but I guess the most favorable argument for them is that Alabama was the one seed in the SEC. How are you going to punish the one seed in the SEC? The real issue is, how is the one seed in the SEC at the same time the ninth seed in the CFP? And the answer is the SEC doesn't play each other. So we're all lying to ourselves and saying that so-and-so is the SEC champ when they may have played two or three other teams in the it's crazy. It's like you're saying you win the AFC North, but you didn't play the Packers. Like no other world exists like that. And so they have got to, I mean, this is a Bakwa question, but like they have got to do something about like either having divisions or, I mean, I don't really know how you would do it outside of doing divisions to where you would have everyone play each other.
You know all about this conference stuff and all this way more than I do. Can you explain to me why? Who was it? It might have been, it wasn't Louis. It might have been Virginia or someone lost to NC State in the ACC, but it didn't count against their ACC record. Do you know what I'm talking about? I couldn't understand how somebody lost to NC State, but it didn't count against their record somehow. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think it was UVA, and that's just like they had to come back. They didn't have enough games in their schedule, so they happened to schedule another ACC team in a non-ACC game. I guess I would just push back. I see in the chat.
There you go. That actually makes perfect sense. You answered my question, and again, I get it. Thank you. I've been wondering about that. I knew you would know that.
So I would just push back. There's a little bit on the chat about the SEC playing a 9-game schedule or whatever. The issue is not the number of games. The issue is that we're lying to everybody. The Big Ten's lying to itself. I mean, I don't know the Big 12 as well, but if you have 18 teams in a conference and you play 9 conference games, you don't play like 7 of the teams in the conference. And then you end up in a scenario where, like Pitt or IU last year, they had like 1 hard game, but they treat all. It's like the whole scenario about you are what your record says you are. That's absolutely not true. Like an 8-1 Big Ten record or whatever, when you only played 1 good team, and then the bottom feeders, which is what absolutely happened to Indiana last year, is not the same thing as in 1997 when there was like 9 SEC teams and they played 8 conference games or whatever. So everybody played each other. So you could never have a scenario where Alabama's the 1 seed of the SEC and at the same time number 10 of the polls, because they would have lost to somebody. And so it's craziness. They've got to bring back divisions. I hope the guys are pushing for that, because none of this makes any sense at all. And the BCS doesn't fix anything because it's all based on like relative performance measures. But if no one plays each other, it's all lies.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, man. I have thought about this a lot too, with the way some of those schedules, and then it seems like it ends up where a couple teams get nailed, where they play like all of the good teams on the top half of one of the conferences, and then other teams skate and they have like 1.5 tough games a year in a conference.
It'd be something about, over what time horizon are you looking at? So over, say, a 10-year period, do they measure it out? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, people talk about the uniqueness of college football and like how when you go to super conference or whatever, it's just, there's no way. I try to do some research. The Premier League doesn't do it like this. Baseball doesn't do it like this. NFL doesn't do it like this, where you call yourself a conference or division champion and don't play the people in your conference or division. And like the sanctity of, say, the conference championship or conference rankings screws up everything else. But with all that being said, we got to stay independent. If we had won 11 games or 12 games, and we at that point we were excluded, that's where we have to start seriously thinking about a conference. But I think if we win our games, we'll be good. The big picture stuff.
Yeah, and then what are you enjoying the playoffs? Are you still watching?
Oh, baby, absolutely not. I got time.
What are you doing?
No, F those guys. I ain't watching nothing. I go to like a non-ESPN. I think if you like Google or you ask Siri what the score was, then it just shows you the score or whatever. But no, I'm not paying attention to that. So I'm completely checked out. I don't think it's legit.
Good for you. I want
to give you support, John. Yes, sir.
I'm happy for you, that maturity level. So I don't know, Brendan, this has just been a frustrating dynamic here to navigate through. And then I don't know, man, we'll see in a couple weeks, maybe things will level out. We'll be in a better place, but it's been a bumpy ride.
Yep. Easy day. Hey, have you talked about the off-season schedule for Patreon? Is it going to be pretty much the same, or like the plan for that?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure some of that out. We're going to get to the new year and we're going to add some things to make up. Obviously, there's no game film and all that. So we're going to be adding a different menu with some items.
All right, good stuff. All right, John, all the best. I'll talk to you here soon.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good one, man. If Freeman was 100% locked in, they would have announced it by now. My humble opinion. I think that's fair to kind of think that if that's where you're at. Rodney, what's up? Good morning, buddy.
Oh my goodness, Sean! I got a little bit of a sore throat, but
I can hear
remain
that.
in my.
Jeez, it makes my throat hurt just hearing you talk.
But I'm gonna do the best I can. Just have to speak on a lower register. John, this has been a nightmare for me, man, and for us, it's just the bad faith arguments. I mean, I've been texting you here and there about stuff.
There's a lot of them going around.
I'm so tired of it, John. I mean, it's like we live in this society now where we just can't be honest for some reason. Everything is narrative pushed. It's all narrative pushed. Dude, John, I have so many things to say, but let me start with a question, because I have not heard anybody address this, and I really want to understand this. This whole Notre Dame having to be in the 12, top 12, and it was like being worked on last year. Well, I heard someone say this, and it was kind of a fleeting comment. And then I'm like, wait a second. And I didn't Google it, I admit. But what I heard is that if they're in the top 12 of any of the two major polls outside of the committee, that's at least the way it was framed, that they're automatically in. In other words, taking it out of the committee's chance to leave us out by bias. In other words,
wait a second. I don't know if that's the way I understood it. I thought the guideline was if they're 12 in the CFP, they're guaranteed to be in and not get bumped like they did. I am not sure that I knew that it was those other ones. I don't know about that. I thought it was 12 in the CFP ranking. That was my understanding, unless I misinterpreted the ruling.
that's exactly what my understanding was too. And then I don't remember where I heard it, but it was somebody of national prominence that said it, and it was kind of a fleeting comment. And so I don't know. I'm wondering, because that makes a lot of sense if that's the case. Because like, okay, we're not going to leave. We're basically saying if we're in the top 12 of either the coaches or AP poll or something like that, I'm not exactly sure how it works out, that we are in no matter where the CFP puts us. Yeah. That could be completely wrong. I'm asking for clarification on that. The other thing too, it may not matter if on January 23rd they decide to go to 16 or whatever. But John, I mean, we talk about things being Notre Dame, we talk about, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Literally, the scenario worked out. I said, I think 3 or 4 games into the season, after we got up to like 3-2 in the year, I'm like, I got a feeling we're going to win out, man. And I said, I just absolutely cannot see a scenario of us being left out. And you had to do so many mental gymnastics to justify those polls, man. This whole CFP committee thing. Look, I admit I didn't see this coming either with the two group of 5 teams getting in this way. I understood the way it was structured before, what that meant. But again, so I'm as guilty as everybody. I didn't see that I didn't see that playing out this way. And sometimes you don't know until you actually see it played out. Now we see it, and it sucks. And it sucks. The fact that the excuses I would have had so much more respect if they just would have said, listen, we get I don't know how you word it, man, but I hated the way they try to explain it. It's like you're basically giving yourself an out. If you're going to leave us out, fine. Can you be at least 50% honest about it? Find a way to use it in a narrative way that makes sense. Don't tell us that Auburn, they did a really good job with their running game in the last couple of drives against Auburn. That really impressed us, dude. Are you going to insult our intelligence like that? And then Miami and the ACC coming out against us for a couple weeks, man. I thought the whole time, everybody, why did they say anything? Because if we did, they'd have been like, you whiners. If we do it, we're whining. If they do it, it's the right thing to do. And that's why I don't think we said anything, because look, man, we're not going to try to grandstand. We're going to let this thing play out. And it happened to us anyway. And I guarantee if the situation reversed and it was us trying to get ahead of it, doing all that, they'd have left us out because we were complaining. They'd have found a reason to leave us out because of that. I mean, it's crazy to me that we're getting punished for their crappy ACC championship rules of who gets in.
The one that got me, the most disingenuous thing I think that was said throughout this whole thing was, it didn't even have to do with protecting Alabama and the SEC. It was when that committee chair got asked, is the concept of not having an ACC team in this field, is that a part of all the discussion? He lied to America and said no. You found out that the ACC was told they were getting a team in somehow before those final games. That guy knew there's no way they're leaving the ACC out, and they were going to make it work. That, to me, it was a straight up lie to America, acting like that problem wasn't prevalent in the discussions. Lies.
100%. I didn't bring that one up. Thank you for saying that, John. Again, why can't you just find a way to, if you can't just say, I understand you can't just come around and say, well, yeah, we have a deal behind the scenes and you guys, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I understand you can't frame it like that, but they could have found a way to at least say something like, that narrative was out there. I don't know how you say it, man, but that was just an outright lie and an insult. And that's why it's like, why are we making this complicated, the CFP thing? You're expanding the playoffs. Just give it to the writers and the coaches. Combine the two polls. If you want to use a computer like they did back in the BCS days to figure it out, fine. But there's no doubt in my mind the reason this whole thing was put together was to have this kind of leverage and bias. And now you're convoluting the waters again. Okay, so then there's that. The fact, and you said it, John, it's so depressing to me that backfield we had, Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, we're not going to be able to see them in this playoff because, John,
it hurts.
I truly feel this team was ready to take another step. Freeman's teams are proving they get better as the year goes on. There's some sacrifices there where, for whatever reason, dude, he hasn't figured out how to get us ready to begin the year, right out of the gate. But it seems like last year in the playoffs, dude, there were players that came out of nowhere showing up. There's something they're coaching in that is the players are blossoming at the right time, and that sports science stuff is real, man. And I think we were ready to hit another level, and it's so painful. I'm not saying we would have won the national title. I mean, we could have been put out in the first round if we had 3 turnovers or whatever. I mean, that can always happen. But I truly feel, dude, we are ready to hit another level because of that run we went through last year. I think made us different, and I think we had an edge, and I think we were going to come out of nowhere, but we were going to shut a lot of people up, man. There's no doubt in my mind. Listen, we would have never gotten in a 14 playoff. Okay, I'll say that, obviously. But I actually think that we're better than Oklahoma and Alabama. We should have been number 8. I mean, I'm sorry. If you take the uniforms off and you put someone else's uniforms on, give them the same schedule, that team's getting in, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And also,
Rodney,
say this, too.
It's a year where there isn't one dominant head and shoulders team that is the team to beat. I feel like Notre Dame, again, those title odds going the morning of the playoff when I woke up, they were the 3rd or 4th best odds to win the title. And instead the whole season's over. It really is painful, man.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know. So how do you even judge it? I mean, but again, I've seen two lost teams before look like Notre Dame looks. And I don't know that I've ever seen a 2-loss team finish number 11 in the polls looking this good. I mean, and I realize it's relative because it depends on who's in front of you. It's just crazy to me that there was no upsets the last few weeks of the season that we needed to have to get us there. Yes, I'm mad we lost the first 2 games, but again, I hate keep going over all this logic, John, but it just makes too much logical sense. And the mental gymnastics people had to go through. Apparently, losses don't matter anymore. It don't matter who you lose to or when you lose them. I have been told my whole life, if you're going to lose early. Oh, if you're going to lose against teams that are, playoff teams. Okay, well, that happens. Texas A&M and Miami are playoff teams. Oh, and if you're going to lose by a small amount of points. We literally did that.
Don't do it 2 in a row.
Okay, but if you're going to do it 2 in a row, you want those. If you're going to lose 2, you want them to be right away so that you have a 10-win.
You're right. By the way, the more you're yelling, the better your voice sounds. This is not how medical science is supposed to work. But you are right, though. You did everything right to do what we did and still even be in the conversation. If you're going to do it, you did it as early as possible against 2 of the better teams as possible. Like you tried.
And with this little margin of loss as possible. John, I mean, again, any other team, I don't care. I don't care who it is. Any other team that does what Notre Dame did this year, same players, take away they're number 5 or 6 in the country, guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. And that's what makes me mad, is that there's no way I still can't. And again, nothing we're going to do is going to change it, man. The only thing I can hope for, and I'll talk about Freeman here in a second, is just that I gotta believe, man, that there is going to be another level of anger, and just there's going to be another level to this. I know Freeman's is gonna come out next year with another. There's going to be another gear. I really feel that way, and I'm not saying we're going undefeated. I don't think that's happening, but But I don't think you're going to see 2 losses next year. I think you're going to see, if nothing, you may, at the worst, 1 loss. I think there's that. I don't know. I still think the teams are going to get better as it goes along. I'm glad that we don't play 2, juggernauts like that at the beginning of the season. But I'm telling you, man, that I absolutely feel that they're going to do whatever they can, which is why, getting back to the Freeman thing, it just makes no sense. The Giant stuff doesn't even make sense to me. Again, I'm not there. I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what his family wants. Okay. I think family has a lot more to do with what these coaching decisions, I think, than we realize, with all the money that's out there right now.
Yeah.
Resources, all that. But I just think Freeman is so built for the college game. I'm not saying 10 years down the line, he may want to be an NFL coach, but it literally makes no sense. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why, but it doesn't make any sense for me. It absolutely just follows no logic if that was to happen.
Yeah. Hey, man, if you're one of those competitive guys and you want to be challenged at the top level, I can't tell anybody that doesn't make sense to an extent, right? We don't have the brains these guys have. They're competitive at a different level. Maybe you want to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, man, I think he wants a national title here so bad. It's so bad. I don't think he's going to be here for a long, long haul like Kelly's tenure, but I think 7-8 years feels about right to me, and God bless him after that, whatever he wants to do. I just think that he has a burning desire to do well in this program. And I just think they're not saying anything because they don't have to. And I also think this is somewhat for leverage. I think that there might be, you make things public and then you lose a little bit of leverage.
3 weeks ago. I thought that too at the beginning, but the longer it keeps going, the more.
Yeah, John, for our sake, it sucks. I totally get it. For our sake, it sucks. But I think there's more to this as to why there hasn't been a public announcement. But John, I would be. And I mean, everything else that happened this way, the Iowa State game, all the things that had to happen for us to lose that game a couple years ago. And that was a microcosm of the macrocosm that has happened this year, all the things that have had to happen. So I could, but I would be more floored by that.
Yeah.
Than I am about the mental gymnastics that took us to drop us out of the playoffs. I just don't see it happening.
I'm with you. So Rodney, I don't know, man. It's just been a tough little window of time. Let's just see. It looks like people are saying Heinisch is retiring. Okay. Whatever. I mean, I don't know what. Am I supposed to cry over it? I don't know. Whatever, man. Do what's best for you. As far as that. Rodney, I hope you feel better, man. Rest that voice, and I'll be back in a couple days. Let me know if you have any new. Wait, people are saying contracts just been reported. Freeman's coming back. Is this true or not?
Oh, so I'm a good luck charm. I come on the show, and now there's an announcement. John, we did it, buddy.
That would be big news. Now it was about Heinisch, and now people are saying Freeman extension just got reported. All right, Rodney, good. You're good luck. Keep calling.
Yeah, you have a great one, John, man. Have a great one. All right, buddy.
There you go. Oh, man, this is great. Right when we were talking about what we all need to keep it moving here, we made it public here. Awesome. Interesting. All right, you guys. With that news, there's a bunch of people waiting. If that's true, I'm going to get off of here and probably record something and write something about that, get that posted, and we'll go from there. So that is big breaking news. I need to get over and check it out. Thanks for being here. Thanks for donating. Thanks for calling. We'll see you tonight on Raw. Now I got to get on all this news. Interesting. That's funny, Slip. Have a good one. Let's get on this news.